What's up, everybody? It's Karma Sin. How you guys doing today? I hope you're having a great day. I am in Bedrock Edition, which I haven't been in a little while, but I wanted to come over here. I finally got my hands back on an old world of mine, which is what I called Ideacraft. It's where I was doing my Redstone and a couple of like building tests and stuff like that before I put it into the server or the realm that I was on. And I just wanted to show some of the stuff that I'm proud of that I've done and used, and like what I enjoy doing with Redstone. As you can see, I'm right here in front of the item sorter. This is one of my favorite things in Minecraft to build in general. It's like a really cool moment in Minecraft when you're in a survivor world and you get to the point where you can build one of these and it works. Like, it's useful enough to actually keep all your stuff in. So what I did is I have this chest here where I can keep, I got like a bubble elevator that sends everything up and then goes across the hoppers and eventually gets dropped into one of these spots. Now what's funny is I think I just put something in there that I don't actually have a spot for. No, I don't. But I swear to God it works. Here, let me just get some stuff real quick. We'll get some diamond ore because I know that works. And we'll put this in here. Ba-bam. See how fast that was too? I think I got like 2 different dispensers down there, so it's spitting them out twice as fast as it normally would because I didn't want it to be like ridiculously slow. So as you can see, they should be popping right into here. There you go. So yeah, I've always really loved these systems. Now, what I did when I built this one, I just wanted to make it look really good and fit it into like a nice smaller space. So this is the one I did, and then but this one over here is something that I actually kind of designed on my own. It's not like I didn't design the sorting aspect of it, but I did just kind of do all of this on my own because I wanted to make an auto sorter that I could use in a mining system. So I would come down here, I could go into here, I could take some well, let's put some some diamonds in there, and let's say we had something that we needed to smelt, like some ore, like, so let's get some iron ore, gold ore, and diamonds. It should be enough, right? So you'd be down in your mine, you go ahead and put this stuff in there, and you push the button and it will send it up, right? Trigger the system. Now that it sees there's items in there, it stops the chest there so it can sort out. It'll go through here, it'll decide whether or not it is any of these items to be smelted. If it's not, it'll just continue on down the chain into here where it'll be sorted away. And I've tested this a lot, so there's a lot of stuff in here. See, there it goes. It's going up right now. Cool, right? So then when one of these pop in, so there's the gold ore, triggers it. Oh, I got turn this off. There it goes. So yeah, so normally I don't have to switch it. I was being impatient. So it actually reads that there's something in there and it'll turn it off on its own. And then when this fills up, so when all of that stuff's done, it'll start to smelt it. Then it gets sent down, and then it'll also be auto sorted. I really love this system because as you noticed too, when it was done emptying, sends it back down to you. Now I ended up not using this one, and the reason I didn't end up using this one is because of the fact that there was like a limit. So if you were like 64 blocks away from the point of where this is going, it wouldn't actually return. I'd have to go up part of the way, and then it would get sent back, or it would register because of like how far away it is before like chunks get loaded and all that stuff. So it ended up not working that well, but I still really love this system. So everybody knows super smelters. You know, everyone's got to have one of these eventually in their world if they want to smelt items faster than, you know, 1 or 2 or 4 even at a time. So you make these long lines and you set it up on the system like this, and you'll get a decent amount of items. And I was like, well, maybe I can soup it up a little bit. So I made this one, and I was like, all right, now I got 2 rows, and I did this one. You can see I had to actually use the hopper cart or the chest cart on top to get the items distributed evenly. And it was still pretty fast, but it wasn't fast enough. So then I made this beast of a boy over here. And this one, I just had so much fun messing around with this. Let me get I did a /kill earlier to get rid of the mobs, and I accidentally killed all my chests too. So let me grab a chest and a minecart, right? Put that back in there. Yep. And then we're gonna grab some. Let's get some ore again. Let's get like 3 stacks. 3 stacks is good, right? And then we'll put 3 stacks in there. Cool, cool. All right. So we'll show what's in here right now. We got a bunch of gold ore in there. So we're gonna flip this. It'll send it out. Hopefully distribute everything evenly. Yeah, they're all lighting up, which is great. So it's working. I wasn't even sure if there was core in there. There was coal in there. And we just got to wait for the first load to start coming through. And there we go. Ba-boom. And I know this is not the fastest thing in the world. I mean, that's pretty quick, right? Like, you can't complain about this rate. But, I mean, Bedrock is still pretty limited. I'm pretty sure in Java Edition, somebody's got some kind of super smelter that uses all kinds of crazy systems and whatnot and pumps out like a stack a second or something. But for Bedrock, I was pretty proud of this, especially not looking up like any other tutorials. I just used the stuff that I already knew, like the locking the hoppers with the redstone, and then the minecart system for distributing the items through. But yeah, look how fast that is. This is just brilliant. I don't know if I actually ended up building this one either. I think I ended up sticking with the smaller one because I didn't have enough resources because the hoppers are just so expensive. Which brings me on to an old thing. So if you wanted to make a bunch of hoppers, you needed a bunch of iron. If you wanted a bunch of iron and you didn't want to mine for it, you had to make yourself an iron golem farm. So this is the iron golem farm I used to use, and I did build this in the system, and I even kept the chunk loaded, so as long as anybody was on the realm, it would run. And even with that, it still was so painfully slow. I think they might have recently fixed this in 1.16. They said they were going to try to make it so the iron golem farms were a little bit faster because of the fact that Java was just so ahead. I mean, Java Edition, you'd be pumping out iron so fast you don't know what to do with it all. Bedrock, you'd be trickling out a stack every 2 hours or something. So yeah, and this doesn't work at all anymore. This is back when you had to use all the doors to recognize that there was a village, and then you had villagers on the sides here, and then they would start spawning on these two platforms, fall in and die, and drop the iron and the little flowers into this one here. Sadly, yeah, it doesn't work anymore, and now it's a little bit more complicated. But since I don't play Bedrock too much anymore, I haven't really been too bothered by it. But I did really enjoy building this, and it was cool to have. It was still better than going down and mining. Like, if I did have to mine, it wasn't as much. So it was a win. Over here, I had a lot of fun designing a bunch of different kinds of style of ice generators, because we were playing on one realm, and I really wanted to work in the ice biome. So I was like, well, if we're going to work in the ice biome, we're going to need a lot of ice. And I wanted to sell ice. So I started messing around with different designs to try to get them to work. And I think all of these worked pretty well, honestly. I think the one that I ended up settling on was this one, which is not my design. This was somebody else's design that I was just like, all right, I give up. I'm looking it up. So I looked it up, and this was the design, and it works fantastically. So no problems with this at all. You can see some of the different kind of redstones that I was using. I got the switch here, the timed switch to turn it on and off like that. This one uses just this. Yeah, it uses the same thing. I think I was using this on all of them actually. Yep, I was a big fan of these timers. I think I still kind of use these. I haven't done a lot of redstone lately, but those and T flip-flops I just had in just about freaking every design. This is one that I use in every world, though. This is that the concrete maker. I hate making concrete. See, in Java Edition, you can hold it in one hand and break with the other hand when you place it in water, so you get this faster system. You cannot do that in Bedrock Edition, so you actually had to place it and break it, place it and break it, and keep switching back between a pickaxe and the item. So I made this instead, which all it does is just some water in here, right behind this block, I believe. You turn this on. Yep, place a block in the sand, the concrete powder. Sorry, concrete powder goes in there, gets pushed through, turns into a solid block, keeps getting pushed through, gets down here, it moves it down here, and then they all get moved to the side, and eventually when it hits the end here, it pops back up. And all you do to do this one is you just make a spot where the block, when it ends up there, so you see I got a redstone torch and a repeater. When a block ends up there, it completes the circuit, which triggers the giant array of pistons down here and the detection thingies majiggies. I forget what they're called at the moment. The observers. Yeah, the observers trigger it and push everything up, and then you could just go in with a pickaxe and break it all apart. And I just left it for anybody to use. I didn't charge or anything for that. I was like, it's just such a big deal, and everybody needs it. It was just kind of a cool thing to have in the server. Let's see if I can find anything else. All right, actually, you know what? I know exactly what I can show out. This is something that I actually did design all on my own. Something I actually designed all on my own. One of the biggest obstacles about playing Bedrock, if you want to do like redstone and stuff, is mob farm. So if you try to make a mob farm, they just don't, I don't know, they just don't seem to ever work right. There's so many different variables that go into it. So I tried out different designs that I've seen online to see if I can get them to work, and it just never worked out for me. and I built this one, which is not my design, and it works to an extent, but for some reason it wasn't working at the time. It's working a lot better now. This might be because of 1.16. They did say they were going to try to fix these kinds of things for everybody, like the distances and when they despawn. So that might be why this is working a lot better. But again, it didn't, at the time, it wasn't enough. So I ended up building this monstrosity. And this is, I can say, 100% my own design. It uses parts of other people's, designs, because the circuits and stuff like that are all very similar. Dispensers have been broken in Bedrock for freaking ever, so dispensing water, it just never worked. Every time they would trigger, it would sometimes uncycle some. So some would be on, some would be off. So what I did instead is I used pistons, sticky pistons, which would just let the water out. And so it would close off for a little bit, let the mob spawn, and then it would open up, push them down, and then they go through here. And I had this clock up here. Yep, recognize this one. I really like this. Would just alternate between which ones. So these two have water, these two don't have water, and then they flip, they switch sides. And I don't know why, but this one just worked really well for me. I had a couple of theories that it was because I was so high up that it would just couldn't catch any of the spawns down there, or they would despawn, so that this would work really well. Or it was the distance between that and here. But I've cleared it out recently. But I swear, this thing was just amazing. And I just love the way it looks. I mean, look how cool this is. And again, this one I ended up not building either, because it's just such a pain in the butt to try to build this. I ended up building a smaller version of it using like one of these instead, and just let it go. And then my last one, I actually used the old school one, where you just have 4 platforms of water in the center and hope for them to fall in. But you can see right here as it's actually working. Yep, go down into the hole. This is the worst part. I hate this. There you go. There you go. But yeah, I love this thing. It just looks like a behemoth. A behemoth of a mob spawner. It's got like some kind of alien space station kind of feel to it up there. Anything else that I can think of that, well, you know what? Well, since we're here, we'll go ahead and show off this other thing. This one's not redstone. There's some other little bits of redstone here, but most of these are pretty basic. I tried to make a cycling, this one I tried to make a cycling chest. I'm not sure exactly what the goal was. I think it was to where people could pay and I could collect it, and it would know, like, if it wasn't 1 diamond, I was trying to get it to pay where you could pay like 16 diamonds for something, and it would keep track of it and make sure that that's how many you had to throw in. And I came up with this like rotating chest system, so they would just start at the bottom, and then every time one would fill up, they would all trigger and push the next chest into place, and then it would read and wait for that one to be a certain place before it would reset it all again, so that way you always had the same amount of diamonds. But it didn't work out. It was a cool little build. I'd turn it on, but I don't even know how to reset it up anymore. It was so long ago. But it was one of those cool, just have fun playing around with redstone ideas. You can see I have a couple of different tree farms that I was working on, trying to get those to work. I always have pretty bad luck with these. I don't know what it is, but they always seem to break on me. Like the leaves always spawn in just the worst spot. But this one worked really well. You can tell this one was one that I was having fun with. All right, so the last thing that I want to show that's on here is the builds. So none of these, I don't think any of these are mine. Wait, I lied. This one's mine. So a couple of my friends and my fiance came on here, and they were just doing some medieval style builds, which I really want to steal one of these. I think I'm going to steal this one and try to put it in the server here soon in Java. I just really like how this looks. I want to say this one was built by either King Killer or Radis Leo, one or the other. It just looks so cool. Then this one I really like as well. I really like the roof on this one, the logs and the stone, and then the shape as well. Let's get in the inside. Not very roomy though. It does have a second floor, which is pretty nice. This one is gorgeous. It's got this is more up my alley for what I got going on right now, which is like having as much foliage around to give it to like more life. And this does look really, really nice. So all of these would be good additions. This one over here is the one that I built while they were doing that, because I was really big on my redstone kick in here. So I made this room, or this house, where you could flick a switch and it would just lock you in. It's like a safe house. So you can get in and just shut everything down. Boom. Ain't no one getting in, ain't no one getting out if you wanted them to. Obviously I have the switches here. I was gonna create a system where it would be like key card. You use a key card and lock it down. But all right, guys, that's a little sneak peek at a small, you know, now that I'm looking at it, it is kind of small, but a small redstone testing, you know, just Ideacraft world that I made just to play around and have a good time with, and just mess with like the mechanics of things before going and doing it in Survivor. Redstone has always been a really big passion of mine in Minecraft. I haven't been doing it a lot in the server, so if you've been watching, you're probably thinking, what? You never do redstone. And the reason is like, I really, really wanted to get into more of this area. You know, like you see how much redstone that I was playing around with. And this is not the only world that I ended up having. I've had them on Java and stuff. But this is really what I wanted to focus on. I want to get more to this status of building. The ones that I have right now are not bad, but I know that I can do better. So I've been like pushing myself. So the next like set of buildings that I want to do, I'm really going to try to step up the size and detail to them. And then, you know, we'll throw in some redstone in there because I still really love doing redstone. And if that's something everyone else enjoys, I think it'd be just like fun for everybody to do. But all right, guys, that is the end of this episode. Well, it's not really an episode. It's the end of this video. All right, guys, this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. You make my day. I love the comments and the likes and all of it. Give me more, give me more, give me more. And well, guys, until the next video, goodbye.